Hi, welcome to Butte County Pool. Did you know children drowning is one of the #1 causes of death in children under the age of 12? At any swimming pool or waterfront, there are various hazards you have to look out for. At a pool, you need to be aware of the deck surface, whether it's slippery. Some concrete has been roughened and textured so it's not as slippery. Other pool decks are tiled and very slippery. When you go into the pool, usually you will find the change rooms at the shallow end. You will also find the water fountains at the shallow end. This is a good indication of where you need to be most careful. A lot of injuries happen at swimming pools with people jumping or diving into the shallow end and not realizing how deep the water is. Here at this location, our shallow end is at 3.5 feet, which is relatively safe for all children to jump into. Although adults need to be concerned that if you jump in and you're unaware of that, you could hurt your knees, hips, and lower back. At our pool here, towards the deep end, we get into 6.5 feet. Any area over 5 feet is usually safe to dive in a swimming pool. Although in open waters, you need to be more careful. You don't know what's under the water's edge. Another safety feature that pools often have is a rope that goes across, separating the shallow end from the deep end, or a black line of some sort that gives a swimmer an idea that they're heading into deeper water. Please make note of that when you go. Whenever you first enter a swimming pool, be sure to notice where the lifeguards are and any pool rules that they may have posted. This will help you swim safe and abide by the rules. Beware of diving boards, slides, and swimmers who may swim around them or underneath them that you may encounter, so you don't get hurt or hurt them. There are many other hazards when you go to open bodies of water, whether that be boats, rip tides, or the tide itself. Lakes and waterfronts of that nature are especially dangerous because there's often large rocks that you cannot see at high tide and are only visible on low tide. I suggest that every time you go to a body of water, whether you've been there or not, that you wade in nice and slow. You may need to take note of jellyfish migration in your area or any shark migration that may happen. Although shark attacks are fairly rare, it's something you need to be aware of, especially if something has happened in the area before. Here in California, many of our rivers and our lakes are also hydro dammed. So the lake height, river, and flow can vary widely, even from hour to hour, and you have to make note of that. Another thing to be aware of is the sand temperature when you go to a beach. The air may be cool with the breeze coming off the body of water, but the second you put your feet on that hot sand, burning is a danger. Another thing to keep in mind, no matter where you are around water, is to stay hydrated. Often you're nice and cool because you're in the water and you don't feel like you're getting dehydrated. But in the evening or in late afternoon, you will start to get a kind of a foggy headache, and that's always a good indication. And as some people might think this is a little gross, but pay attention to your urine color. And it should be barely yellow or clear. Anything darker than that and you need to hydrate. If you're thirsty, you are already dehydrated. Small sips of water throughout the whole day is your best luck. Many people will want to drink sports drinks. Keep in mind those are high in sugar. Lemonade is also a diuretic, and you will actually lose more fluid than you'll retain drinking those. When you're in open bodies of water, pay attention to swimming areas that may be sectioned off so you don't encounter boats. Remember, a boat cannot see you if you are treading water or swimming, and you are more than likely to get run over. There are a few things you can do to keep yourself safe in water. One of the newer things on the market are things like this, a little puddle jumper. These are relatively safe for your little guy. They float them face up most of the time, not face down, but it will never excuse proper parental supervision. One of the things that I'm adamant about whenever you go to open water, whether you're in a boat or just swimming on the beach, is to always have a life jacket or a PFD with you. There is a difference between a life jacket and a PFD. A PFD, or a personal flotation device, is guaranteed to float you. It will not float you face up or face down with any preference. It is just guaranteed to float you. Now, a lot of PFDs on the market now are coming in really nice colors. They have blues and turquoise, and they're very fashionable. And although they might look really good, and this is just a personal preference of mine, It's not dictated by Department of Transport or the US Coast Guard, but I think you should look for a PFD with orange, red, or yellow on it. Now, it's unlikely that anybody in a helicopter will see you no matter what color you're wearing, but they will see you a lot more if you're wearing red, yellow, or orange. Blue and black just blends into the water and they have zero chance of finding you. On any PFD or life jacket you buy, it will come with 2 pieces of cards. They will tell you about the different types of PFDs and life jackets and how that piece of equipment is guaranteed to float you. A Type 1 PFD here in the United States is also known as a life jacket in Canada and in England, and they are most likely to float you face up. The younger the child, it is critical that they are wearing a Type 1 PFD for the most opportunity to float them face up. Now, I do believe it's unlikely whenever you go to the beach that you're going to take a life jacket with you. But you can always take something that's fun to use while you're swimming and playing, and that is a pool noodle. You can get these, they're really inexpensive, they're at the dollar store. Sometimes at the end of the summer, they're selling them 4 for $1. Like when you're on an airplane, you're counseled to put on your face mask before you put on your child's, because that way you're safe and you are at abdomen responsibility to be able to help your child. If you go in the water to rescue your child, they are incredibly strong when they're panicking, and they are likely to bring you down. You never want to touch them directly. But if you reach out to them with a pool noodle, they're soft, they're easy to grab, and then you can pull them in towards you. Once they feel the security of anything, they're likely to stop drowning and to relax and listen to you a lot more as you help them out. You also need to be able to recognize the difference between a drowning person or a weak swimmer. A drowning person will have their mouth closed, their hands and their head will never be above the water at the same time, and they will not call for help. So if you see a child bobbing with their head up but their hands down, and then their head goes down when their hands come up and they make no sound, that child is in desperate need of help. A weak swimmer will call for help, and you have time to get that to them. If you need any additional information, there are a number of places you can go. Talk to your local lifeguard. You can also check out the Red Cross website on water safety and the US Coast Guard. They have a lot more detailed information that will be able to help you out. I would like to tell you one final story. There was a family who lived in a rural area, and their son was out swimming in the local dugout. Per local tradition here in my area, and I'm sure in most, the child went in for a swim. He had been drinking alcohol and he had put his rocks in his pockets to show everybody how strong he was to swim across the pond. I think you know what happened. He did not make it to that other side, and that young man died on his 21st birthday. The next summer, his family went on a fishing trip, and as they were standing on the dock fishing with no life jackets or PFDs around, their son fell into the water. Because of the undercurrent in the river, that child never re-emerged either. Knowing where your family members are, a few basic safety precautions could have prevented both of these deaths. So please, whenever you go to a body of water, think smart, look around you for hazards, and always have a personal flotation device with you. Thank you. Have a good night.